G'day gents, welcome to video tutorial number 1 of your toy Bakkie. We're going to be aiming at constructing a very simple little toy Bakkie that looks something like this with a trailer, and we'll go ahead and put a little toy or some sort of feature in your trailer. But we're going to start in this video by looking at how to construct the body of this Bakkie. So that's everything that you see in the red. If you come through, if you scroll down on your document, you'll find all the detail for the body of the Bakkie here, all the dimensions that you will need or are required in order to assemble this. Now, I've adjusted this from last year's, and why I've done that is that when you've constructed this Bakkie and you've completed it, you can save it as a 3D file and then go and print it at an available printer in the Macan Center, if you're welcome to do that. So that's the reason for me changing this and for me adding certain features that weren't there before. Right, so let's go ahead and construct this Bakkie. Now what we're going to do is we're going to first construct this exact shape that you see here in the 2 dimensions, and then we're going to pull it across 40 to give it some volume. So we're going to start by building up basic shapes. We're going to look at the base of this Bakkie as a rectangle of 25 by 140. So if I go across to SketchUp, we make sure that our model info is giving us millimeters, our length units. We want millimeters, 0.0 millimeters for display precision, and then length of snapping at 1 millimeter. Then we want to go to our scenes here, and we want to make sure that we're on parallel projection, because what we're going to do now is we're going to come across to our front view, because we want to draw in the 2 dimensions. So that gives us an exact front view orientation, and then I'm going to pan across. I don't want to orbit, because I don't want to create a 3-dimensional oblique angle as I draw. I want to use the front view. So I'm going to hold shift down and my mouse scroll button to give me the pan option. Alternatively, you can obviously go and click on pan. And I'm going to zoom in until I get almost the shoe, right, about that size. Because the toy is going to be relatively small. So it's going to be similar to the size of that shoe. Now I'm going to pan across, and that should give me a better perspective when I'm drawing. So I can close that tab down there. And what I'm going to do here is start again, like I said, with that 140 by 25, a rectangle. I'll just start on the axis over here. I'm going to go 120 by, was it 140 or 120? 140. So we're going to go 140. Remember, just a reminder on how we do this. We click on rectangle, or we type in R, and I'm going to click and release. So I click and I release, and I move my mouse out to the right hand side, and then I'm going to go 140, 20. Now let's have a look again. Okay, 25. So I'm going to go 140, 25 and enter, and that gives me the bottom framework for this Bakkie. Now what we want to do is we want to go and add in this top portion of the Bakkie here. So where we would sit, where the driver would be positioned. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape measure tool, and I'm going to come across from the front edge of the Bakkie here. I'm going to come across 80. If I come across 80, that'll give me this edge over here, which is where the bin will start, and the driver's sort of console or position will come to an end. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. Tape measure tool, which is T. I'm going to click on that, and one more time, let's check that its measurement's 80. So I'm going to click on this side here, make sure we're on the red, okay, not on the midpoint. Red, click and release, and we come across, gosh, can't remember things. 80, there we go, enter. Then we're going to find this little portion over here. If you have a look here, the height of the body, as I said, is 25. The height of the portion where on top of which the bin or the bin will sit is 13. So if we take 25 minus 13, that's going to give us a total of 12. So I'm going to come off this line, click, and I'm going to come down a total of 12. And that gives us the shape, all right, of that little portion there that we can then extrude and remove. But before we do that, let's go back. Right, we know that from that point there, which we've got now, we go up 35 to get to the top of sort of the driver's console area. So we're going to do that. We're going to go click here, and we're going to go up a total of 35, enter. Right, there it is. So we've got that in position. top edge there in position. And then we need to find out exactly where that point is sitting at the moment. And you'll notice that it's 25 millimeters off that edge over there. Okay, and this is 45 millimeters. So we're going to go from this position, we're going to come across 45 millimeters. And then from this position, which is the front edge of the bakkie, we're going to come across 25. So I'm going to come across here, 25. And basically what we've got now is a whole bunch of construction lines, which we can go and use to finish. And so I'll take my line command tool now, and I can go and trace those points. Excuse me. I can go and trace those points to give me the complete outline of the bakkie body. Now obviously there's some material that I'm going to have to delete here. So I'm going to erase these construction lines for now. Right, there and there and there. And now I'm going to go in and remove this material here to give us that portion on which the bin will sit. Now we need to go and hollow out this area over here. Let's go and have a look. So it says that we have a frame, of 3 millimeters all round. So let's do that. I'm going to take a offset command, which is F. I'm going to click inside that space. I'm going to move, remember I'm moving on the inside of that space there, and I'm going to hit 3 and go enter. That's going to give me a nice 3 millimeter offset. But we know now that window, okay, or the opening there sits flush in line with the top of the bonnet. So if we come back here, you'll see that that doesn't fit in line with the top of the bonnet. So all we've got to do is extend these points downwards here. And if it stays pink, then you know it's in line parallel with this outside edge over here. So we want to make sure we pink and then connect, erase, and then we can just erase that line. And we can also erase there, and we can click this material in the middle, and we can press delete. Now you can see that the body of the bakkie is starting to take shape. Good. We're nearly there. All we need to do is go get the rounding. All right. And let me delete that quickly. And then we'll add in the wheel, the axle seats. Right. So here we go. Rounding. Let's go and have a look at what's due. We've got 5 millimeter rounding at that point over there. So 1, 2, and 3 points. So what I'm going to do here is use my tape measure tool, and I'm going to go 5 off from there. I'm going to click and come 5 from the top, 5 from the bottom, and you'll see here what we're trying to do is create this little intersecting point here, a square of 5 by 5, and you'll see why in a moment. Let's pan across, come 5 in from there. Right, so now we've got those little squares. How I'm going to do this is, you could use the circle command or the arc command. So if we come here, you could use this arc or you could use circle. I'm going to use circle because it's just a lot quicker. So I'm going to click the circle command, and I'm going to click on that intersecting point, release, and then click where it meets the top of the bonnet. Click at that intersecting point, click at where it meets the bottom of that bakkie, and then the same thing here. Click there, and then click again where we have that intersecting point on the bottom there of the bakkie. So now what I'm going to do is go and erase that information. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Now I can click into this information and delete it. I can highlight over those lines and delete, highlight in that space, delete, click and drag to highlight that space, and I can delete, and then erase that line over there. Right, so that's the basic shape of the body of the bakkie. In the next video, we'll look at how to construct the seats for the axles for the wheels.